Fantasy football week 6 is here, and this is your complete guide to dominate. I'm going to be breaking it down for you. All the optimal starts at each position: quarterback, running back, tight end, and defense at the end. Every position, breaking it down. Who is the guy to start? Who is the guy to sit based on matchup? The latest news and notes, everything you need here in this video. You don't have to go anywhere else. This is the channel to get you fully prepared to win your leagues. It's a must-win situation. Week 6, let's win the week. I'm going to help you guys do that. Now, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you have a question, you got to hit the like button and drop a question below. I'll try to get to as many as I possibly can, but just hit that thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Make it interactive. Amazing community. We just cracked 100,000 subs. Thank you guys. So amazing, massive community. Help each other. Dive into the comments. Make it interactive. We're sharing the same passion. And listen, it's a must win for week 6. So if you have a question, drop it below. If you want a guaranteed answer, head over to patreon.com/ffcounselor. There, what I do is I literally drop a post every single week where I guarantee an answer. You got to be in the generals, because there's tiers, there's private captains and generals. Join the general level and you're guaranteed an answer every single week. All right, guaranteed. So if you want me to save your league, join the Frontlines. I'm going to do the research for you, dive in to your team and figure out what's going on, the Frontlines, okay? I'm ready to dive in. We're going to go through every position, but before we even do that, enhance your game watching experience, because listen, fantasy is a big part of it, but we've joined up and teamed up with our partners at mybookie.ag. Use code FFC. Go create an account. Put down deposit. There's a $500 bet back bonus. Yeah, man. So it almost feels risk-free, doesn't it? Mybookie.ag. The code you want to use upon sign up is FFC for all the perks for Fantasy Football Counselor. FFC. Go there right now. I'm telling you guys, this is the site. There's everything you need to get into the action. Like I go against the spread. I play the spread a lot, right? I straight up. I've been crushing my straight up picks as well. In the Counselor's Edge, you can get my picks below. But I'm telling you, MyBookie's been a good site. They've been a partner of the show for years. I love what they have there. Great site. Get in there, guys. And if fantasy is kind of annoying you sometimes, you got another thing to get into that's going to get you guys excited. So mybookie.ag, code FFC, put your bets in there. That's the site I use. Head on over there right now. All right, so let's go. We're going to talk with the latest news and notes here with guess who? Guess who's back?
We now have breaking news.
All right, I got a couple things here I want to highlight in the news. It's important here just to kind of get you up to date. Now, this is being recorded on Thursday. A couple things are obviously going to change before. That's why you got to follow my Instagram. If you're not following my Instagram at Fantasy Football Counselor, go to my Instagram. Stop right now. Go right now. Insta, turn on the bell there. Go to my profile, turn on bell to post, notification stories, all that stuff. Because I drop news in there. Like, that's where I put all my news. Also, I got a Discord group as well below. Join that as well. And we have a conversation during games. It's a lot of fun there as well. We talk during games, okay? But a couple things here in the latest news and notes here. Zay Flowers was limited with shoulder injury in practice on Wednesday. So he's dealing with some sort of shoulder injury. I don't know if it's going to be affecting him. Something to monitor if you have him on your teams. Brock Bowers misses another practice. Now, prior to the season, I was screaming at the top of my lungs that he's going to bust this year. Why? Well, it wasn't really based on injury. It was based on the fact that it's an entirely new offense, right? And they've been struggling, man. Geno Smith is under a lot of pressure, okay? So I was like, dude, just don't draft Brock Bowers. And sure enough, he's been crap in the bed, okay? And it's a big part of it is injury. And regardless, even if without injury, it's like they go to Trey Tucker, they go to Jacoby Myers, they go to Genty. Thornton's been a bit of a disappointment. I understand I was really promoting him, but he was a stash. He was literally like a last pick. And, if Thornton doesn't do well, it doesn't hurt my team at all. But it's the people that drafted, Brock Bowers round 2. That's where you got an issue. And I told you to fade him, okay? We got CeeDee Lamb remains sidelined at practice, a non-participant ankle. And I hope you guys picked up Ryan Flournoy. He actually crushed it, man. 114-yard effort in week 5. I got him in waiver wires. I'm thinking of starting him this week. So, you got CeeDee Lamb dealing that high left ankle sprain in week 3. So apparently he's working on some resistance training. And, he's closing in on a return is what I'm reading here right now. Until that occurs, I would say, man, Pickens, Ferguson, all these guys start thriving there. So CeeDee Lamb, another bust so far, okay? Brock Purdy was not practicing Wednesday. Coach Kyle Shanahan said Purdy's toe won't practice Wednesday. Again, be careful with that situation for sure, because a lot of people drafted Purdy. And one thing I was telling people is that with Purdy, you got to be careful, right? You got to draft a quarterback that's consistent, a quarterback that's going to be safer, that you've seen years track record, guys you feel warm and fuzzy with, right? You will say, well, Joe, I drafted Lamar Jackson. Well, Lamar Jackson came off a pinnacle year, and I warned you with that. Josh Allen's been my guy. Mind you, Josh Allen did not have the greatest week last week, but he's an anchor. He's a staple to your team. With quarterback, you want to draft an anchor. Purdy, I didn't really trust going into the season, okay? Something to note here, Amon-Ra St. Brown did not participate due to wrist injury on Wednesday. St. Brown missed practice Wednesday due to a wrist injury. Okay, something to monitor. I'm sure he's going to be playing. Saquon Barkley. He's parking more. He's not playing as much for sure, because when you have a running back coming off an astronomical year, decline is imminent. And I'm telling you guys, and I've been mentioning it, now he's dealing with a knee issue, but he was a full participant in practice Wednesday, and he's cleared to suit up today in Thursday's game. But again, if you're watching this on like a Friday or Saturday or something like that, and Barkley played, I can't imagine him getting the same type of load in this game or throughout the season. But I mean, minimal committee there, but still, they talked even in the offseason about limiting Saquon Barkley this year. He just wasn't going to get the same amount of volume. Okay, we talked about Lamar Jackson, his hamstring. He remains sidelined at practice Wednesday. Be aware of that. I mean, Baltimore without Lamar Jackson, it's just really rough, man. Really, really rough. Terry McLaurin won't practice Wednesday. Dan Quinn said McLaurin's quadriceps won't participate. Okay, yeah. His quadriceps aren't there, so he can't participate. All right, and won't participate in practice. All right, something to monitor. Again, another top wide receiver. You know, there's no guarantees with any player. My Omari in Hampton went down. What can I tell you? Cardinals coach Jonathan Gannon, the guy that slapped the crap out of DeMarcado, basically said that Murray, foot issue, will not practice. So Murray dealing with a foot issue. Kyler Murray. Something else to be aware of. Brenton Strange heads to IR with a quad issue. Joe Flacco bound for Cincinnati. He is there now, and apparently he is starting. Joe Flacco is named the starter in the game, the Bengals. Coach Zach Taylor revealed Wednesday that Flacco will start Sunday's game against the Packers. Man, oh man. I mean, you got to be wacko if you want to start Joe Flacco. That's unbelievable. And also, Joe Mixon's status in limbo. I don't like drafting older, washed-up running backs. And here's the deal, man. A lot of people drafted Mixon dealing with that foot ankle injury. His availability for 2025 season hasn't been determined yet. Just rough shape. Woody Marks should be stepping up, but last week just did not do it. So Woody Marks, a guy that's supposed to be stepping up, did not do that, okay? Something to note as well. So that's it for news here. Now, hopefully you guys, the waiver wire went well for you. I got Flournoy in a couple leagues. I got some Haskins. I got some Vidal stock. I'm mixing it up all over. So I got a bunch of leagues, and I was able to get a couple guys off the wire. Hopefully you guys did well on the waiver wire, right? So let's go. That's it for latest news and notes with guess who? Breaking Brad.
We now have breaking news.
All right, let's go through each position here. If you're new to the channel, hit the thumbs up, smash it, tap it, slap it. Again, make sure you guys visit our partner over here at mybookie.ag. Go enhance that game watching experience. Use code FFC upon sign up. All right, so what are we going to do here, guys? This is how it works. It's very, very easy when you look at Draft Dashboard, okay? On this dashboard here that I've got. So what you're looking at here is basically you got Bryce Young as the easiest matchup versus position, okay? Just take a look at this dashboard. It's very, very simple to follow, all right? So let me just take this banner off here. So what you're going to get here is the easy matchups. This is on paper. That being said, if you take a look, the easiest matchup versus position is Bryce Young versus Dallas. On paper, Stafford versus Baltimore, Herbert versus Miami. Good, favorable matchups for quarterback. Let's start with quarterback. The guys that have it in tough is Josh Allen here. Fourth hardest matchup versus position. He is playing Atlanta, okay? Their pass defense plays a little bit tougher against quarterback. This is how the algorithm factors this in. That being said, if you've got Josh Allen, you're not going to sit Josh Allen. This is to help you make decisions and be aware for DFS, but also for starts and sits if you're torn between decisions, to kind of be aware who's got the good matchups to help you with your decisions, because it's ultimately up to you to make your starts and sits. But you're going to be aware, oh, hey, Justin Herbert's got a great matchup versus Miami. I may want to start him if I've got him in, let's say, I don't know, You've got Daniel Jones on your team. I'm going to probably lean towards Justin Herbert. That's very viable. Some people do have Herbert and Daniel Jones on the same team, right? So there you go. That's how it works. So let's go through it. Bryce Young, Matt Stafford, Justin Herbert, Dylan Gabriel, who I don't really trust, Brock Purdy, who again, we just talked about banged up, Bo Nix, Drake May, who coming off a great week last week, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, all great matchups versus position. Take a screenshot, take a snapshot, rewind, forward, whatever you got to do, okay? Guys that have it tough. Justin Fields, I got an injury thing here. Make sure you check that out. Josh Allen, when there's a heart here, it doesn't mean that we love him. It means that there's something going on with his injury, okay? Possible injury status, all right? Josh Allen, fourth hardest versus position we talked about. I'm still starting him. Daniel Jones versus Arizona. Kyler Murray versus Indy. Again, we talked about Kyler. That's the heart is there. Remember the heart? We talked about it in the news. Did not practice. So just something to monitor. When you see a heart, you got to monitor it, right? That's what it means. Aaron Jones is out. Aaron Rodgers here versus Cleveland. Tougher matchup versus position. Geno Smith versus Tennessee. You're saying, well, Joe, Tennessee, that's an easy matchup. Not so much against the pass, more against the rush. So this is, again, factored in based on position. Dak Prescott versus Carolina. Ninth hardest versus position. Baker, you're still going to start Dak. You're still going to start Mayfield versus San Fran, okay? Tua and Lamar, we know he's banged up. Jackson Dart, mid-range matchup. Anyone I don't mention, like Mahomes, Trevor, all these guys you see here, Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, Jalen Hurts, all mid-range matchups, okay? That is quarterback. Let's move on to the running back position here, and we're going to start off with the good matchups. Jacobs, great matchup versus Cincy. Genty, my guy, Ashton Genty, got a lot of stock in him. He's got to step up this week. Great matchup versus Tennessee. Love it. We got Kyron Williams. I got his stock in him. I need a big game out of him. He's very competitive. He's playing Baltimore. Great matchup versus position. I love to see when my running backs have good matchups. Ja'Cory Cross-Barrett, I got some stock in him. He actually came alive. He's the main guy there in Washington. He's a must start this week. Absolutely love Ja'Cory Cross-Barrett. Came on my show at JCM. They're calling him Bill, but he came on my show. He said he wanted to go by JCM. I'm going to go with JCM on him. So love the matchup. Rico Dowdle coming off a hot week. Great matchup versus position versus Dallas. We got Kamani Vidal and Haskins, the guys that we were talking about, like who's going to be the guy. And I think they brought in Naheem Hines as well, something like that, off the practice squad or whatever. But we got a good matchup. So Vidal, Haskins, favorable versus Miami, whether you're starting either one or both of those guys. One of them could thrive. I think Vidal is going to be the goal line guy, while I think Haskins is going to be used as they're driving down the field. We're going to see. Saquon Barkley, great matchup versus the Giants. J.K. Dobbins and Harvey. It's obviously been more Dobbins. We're waiting on injury if you're a Harvey owner, but great matchup versus position. Cam Scatterbo, Tyrone Tracy. I think he's kind of coming back. Look into that, but great matchup for those guys. Pollard and Spears. Spears, again, he did not play well last week. Check the designation on him, but it just sucked, man. But again, Tennessee kind of struggled in general, but they pulled out a win. I don't know if you guys saw that versus the Cardinals. Wild game where Cardinals just coughed that game up. They literally gave it to him. It was just a wild game. If you're a Cardinals fan, I'd be pissed, dude. Yeah, it was rough, man, but good for Tennessee for pulling it out. By Jan, great matchup, as you can see here, versus Buffalo. Stevenson. Now, I really want to talk about the situation here, because obviously there's an injury there, and Henderson has stepped up. So Gibson's out, Henderson's in, and they got to use Henderson. And again, I think this situation is kind of unfolding where Stevenson's the goal line guy, because he had no volume last year in regards to rushing, and he keeps fumbling, and then they're still using him in the goal line, and then Henderson's going to be, I think, their main back. So something to monitor there. I'm starting Henderson this week, assuming he's a 3-down back, but Stevenson is so annoying. He's a big pest, and I just cannot stand this guy, and I cannot stand the team. And there's a bunch of memes going out saying, like, and this is what I don't get. The worst team for fantasy has always been the Patriots, right? Let's talk about this, because you got Stevenson fumbling pretty much every time he touches the ball. And this pisses me off being a Henderson owner. And you see a bunch of memes coming out of people saying, oh, well, the more and more that Stevenson fumbles, or Gibson now that he's hurt, the more and more that other people fumble, the more and more they punish Henderson. I don't know what's going on. What did Henderson do? Is the coach's wife attracted to Henderson? Is that what's going on? Is there something we don't know? But it's crazy, dude. Like, Henderson needs to get the ball. He's a 3-down workhorse back, and they continue to limit his ceiling with bottom feeders like Stevenson. It's absolutely disgusting. Play Henderson. Patriots. Patriots is a place where careers go to get crushed. I remember this years ago with Sony Michel. Sony Michel was brought in. He was like a first-round pick or whatever he was, top prospect years ago, ended up on the Patriots. His career was over. Patriots suck. I'm telling you, I don't like that team. I thought Henderson, the reason I drafted Henderson is because the way he looked at first of all, Stevenson sucks, which is proving that he sucks, right? But the reason I got Henderson is because he was tearing up training camp and preseason. I'm like, they got to be stupid not to play this guy. And sure enough, they are. Somehow they're pulling out wins with Drake May, but that's my rant there, okay? Jahmyr Gibbs mid-range matchup in Montgomery as well. All right, let's go here. Tough matchups. Derrick Henry doesn't get easier for you, buddy. It does not get easier against the Rams defense here. Hardest matchup versus position, and he's been fumbling. And I mentioned a decline year for Henry this year. Sure enough, that is unfolding for us in front of our eyes. Kenneth Gainwell, tough matchup versus Cleveland. Both these guys suck. And Caleb Johnson, I was really high on when he got drafted because he was a battle-tested workhorse. People keep asking me, why were you high on Caleb Johnson? You're wrong. I wasn't wrong. There's something that happened there in the training camp or in the offseason. Again, maybe hanging out with the wife or something, the coach's wife or something. I don't know. But Caleb Johnson did something or didn't do something, meaning he didn't perform, that he should have easily got the job over Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. These guys suck. They're not running backs. They're garbage players. Yet Caleb couldn't even beat these guys. So something happened there. He was a battle-tested workhorse in college, drafted with high draft capital. He should be the starter with 263 freed up attempts with Najee being gone. He did something. I don't know. It just sucks, man. Just sucks. But regardless, I have a little bit of stock in him when I did my early drafts, but don't really care for him now. Shame on Caleb Johnson, honestly. Like, it's really sad situation there. All right, James Cook, tough matchup, but you got to start him. I got Chase Brown having a rough year as well. And, he was never a great running back. That's why I didn't draft him. He was like a 5th-round pick, had a good year last year. And then that whole offense has been a disaster. But tough matchup. Kamara, tough matchup. Pacheco, he's been playing like garbage too. Tough matchup. Michael Carter had a decent week last week, 18 points. But tough matchup versus Indy this week. And then DeMarcado, what's going to happen with him? Bam Knight, is he going to continue to get the goal line work? That was a real tick off if you picked up either Michael Carter or DeMarcado. Aside from DeMarcado fumbling near the goal line or dropping the ball, literally costing people 7-8 points, it sucks, but there's that. And then Bam Knight stealing a touchdown. I mean, it just sucks, man. Bam Knight came out of nowhere. Odd-chain, tough matchup. Obviously, you got to start him. Gordon's been doing nothing. I'd sit him till further notice. Rashad White, Swift, all tougher matchups here. And Tootin, Bashal Tootin, tough matchup there. Okay, and Breece Hall as well. All right, that's your running back. Let's go to wide receiver here. And wide receiver has really just been like this, like, wide receiver guessing game. It just has not been what anyone expected to be. Other than if you're a Puka owner, congratulations. We're going to see if he lasts this season. That would be his biggest challenge right now. But Tatoria McMillan, great matchup versus position. We got Puka, great matchup. Him and Adams, both great matchup here. A.J. Brown, who's been completely inconsistent, does have a great matchup. Him and Smith, awesome matchup here versus the Giants. We got Deebo Samuel, great matchup. Luke McCaffrey, Terry McLaurin. Again, he's banged up, but Luke McCaffrey, everybody's jumping on him. He didn't do much. 6 points last week. Nothing exciting. Xavier Worthy, check out the injury there. He should be good to go. But again, 11 points, not the greatest. Thornton could be good. Tyquan Thornton could be good. Tyquan Thornton. Yeah, Tyquan Thornton. I can't even pronounce the name. Thornton could be good there in case he could have again, hit or miss. It's very wide receiver roulette with a lot of these teams. Ridley coming alive last week. Good matchup this week here versus Vegas. 21 points last week. Finally coming alive. And that's what they need to do. They need to utilize their best receiver. And we'll see if that continues. Marvin Harrison, great matchup versus position. Romo Tuesday, good matchup versus position, as you can see here. And then you've got the wide receiver roulette here with Thornton, Tucker, and Myers there in Vegas. Disaster. DK Metcalf in Pittsburgh, great matchup. So these are your good matchups, guys. Jerry Jeudy, Isaiah Bond. People picked up Bond. If you did, probably a good week to start him because he's got a good matchup. And Sutton and Franklin, again, wide receiver roulette. Sometimes Franklin gets good games. Sometimes Mims gets good games. Sometimes Sutton. It's mainly Sutton, but still, it's still a bit of a disaster there, okay? Guys that have it tough, Pickens and Flournoy. So I picked up Flournoy. Carolina's pass defense, a little tougher, but I still may start him. I don't care. I'm starting him, okay? Opportunity is there. Garrett Wilson, tough matchup versus position. Jalen Waddle, you got to start him. Obviously, with Hill out, got to start him. Tough matchup versus position. Regardless, they are playing the Chargers pass defense. It's not going to be a walk in the park for Waddle, but I mean, someone's got to catch the ball there, right? Emeka Egbuka, you're obviously going to start him. The hottest player in fantasy, 34 points last week. 6th hardest matchup versus position is playing San Fran. I don't care. I'm starting him. Okay. Hermano St. Brown, we talked about him, practice issues. 7th hardest matchup versus position. Stephon Diggs coming off a hot week, a revenge game against Buffalo last week. Had a good game, but 8th hardest matchup versus position. Keon Coleman and Shakir, very inconsistent. I'm thinking of sitting Coleman this week, and it's just a lack of consistency. And it goes for every receiver here on the Bills. An absolute disaster here. Even James Cook did not have a good week last week. So looks like Kincaid is now worked to be the one. So monitor that situation. But as of right now, very hard to trust, these Buffalo Bills wide receivers. Very, very hard to trust. Josh Downs got a tough matchup versus position versus Arizona. Quentin Johnson, again, more wide receiver. We'll let him, Ladd McConkey coming off a 15-point week, finally after just doing nothing the first 4 weeks. Going into week 6, again, you're playing wide receiver roulette with these guys. Somehow Drake London got worked in here into this lineup. The order was mixed up here. But 11th hardest matchup versus position for Drake London, but you got to start him, okay? So that is it for, wide receiver, the tough matchups and easy matchups, but there I am ranting about all this stuff. Okay, let's move on to tight end. We're going to get to defense here. We're going to get you guys fully prepared and out of here. Tight end, start your consistent tight end, but Tucker Kraft, easy matchup versus position versus Cincy. We got, who else we got? DeJoico, easy matchup. Him and Fannin coming off 11-point week. Henry, good matchup versus position versus say. These are all the good matchups here, guys. Evan Ingram, good matchup here. Take a look. Noah Fant versus Green Bay could be worth a start here. I mean, it just didn't do anything the past couple weeks, though. So is he going to catch the ball? Again, it's because of all these quarterback, musical chairs with quarterbacks. It's like who's throwing to who? Are they going to have a good week this week with Wacko Flacco? Maybe he's going to lean to Noah Fant. I don't know. Nobody knows, right? Jake Tongas could be a good start as long as Kittle's out. I think Kittle will be out another week or so. So Jake Tong, worth a start. Good matchup. He had a good week last week, 17 points. I would start him. Mark Andrews been doing really nothing. He had a good week 3 weeks ago, but last week 4 points, not the greatest. Higbee, nothing. These guys aren't doing much. Kate Auden, 12 points last week, but nothing prior to that, 4 and 0 points. Very, very weird situation with tight end. But guys that have it in tough here, Dalton Kincaid, but you got to start him. I mean, he's been consistent. Look at this, 18, 10, and 20 points last week. Definitely want to consider starting Kincaid. He's been consistent in a team where consistency isn't even a word. Laporta, 20 points last week. Tough matchup versus KC. Got to start him. Pitt's been okay. Kyle Pitts, tough matchup though. But again, regardless of a tough matchup, you start him. I do like Theo Johnson tonight. Obviously, Leak Neighbors being out, looks like he's a prime target there with the Giants. You got to start him, even though he's got the 4th hardest matchup versus position. Brock Bowers, he's banged up. He's probably not even playing. Michael Mayer should be back from that concussion. Check into that, but I think he might be worth a start because as long as Bowers is out. Waller, 8th hardest matchup for position, but you got to start him. Again, Tyreek being out. See, like there's a lot of openings here, like for Waller and Theo Johnson with the injuries to the starting wide receiver, and it's opened up things for the tight end. Mason Taylor, I think he's a safe start. He's been consistent the past 2 weeks, 18 and 12 points the past 2 weeks. Not bad. McBride, again, you got to start him. You drafted him, high draft capital, okay? So that is tight end. Oh, yeah, Barner could be good as well. Again, I made a mistake here. I thought Elijah Arroyo would take this guy out. Barner was never that good, but he seems to be a prime target in Seattle. So note that as well. Defenses. The best defense versus position. Packers versus Cincy, an absolute must start. Raiders versus Tennessee. Titans versus Vegas. Steelers, a great matchup versus Cleveland. We got the Cowboys versus Carolina. Awesome matchup. Eagles versus Giants. Broncos versus the Jets. The Bills versus Atlanta. The Colts versus Arizona. We know how Arizona's been playing. And the Saints, I don't know. I wouldn't say Saints versus New England would be the greatest because they're kind of heating up right now. But there you go, guys. Those are your optimal matchups. If you're looking to stream a defense, these guys could be viable. I do really like the Packers, Steelers this week as well. out of these guys if I'm looking at it at quick glance. All right, that's it, man. That is week 6. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them below. Again, if you want my Patreon, if you want guaranteed answers, patreon.com/FF Counselor. I'll get you guys fully prepared. All right. That's all I got for you. Let's go out there and win the week and stay positive. You don't want to take a 0 on any of your positions, any of your lineup players. Make sure you guys start players that have been fed, because now we're 6 weeks in. You should have an idea of who the volume getters. I know there's a lot of volatility and a lot of uncertainty on certain teams. Who's getting the ball? Who's this? We talked about the Bills offense. We don't know who's the wide receiver, right? So maybe those situations you want to be cautious of. Start players that are a little more consistent. All right. And drop your questions below. Smash thumbs up on your way out. Patreon.com and go to mybookie.ag. Use code FFC. Go create an account and get in on the bets. We'll talk soon. Have a great day.